Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Learn Data with Debarjun. I hope you are doing well in your coding life and coding journey. Now today in this video, in episode 2, we will finish HTML and learn some basics CSS and some basics JavaScript also. And by the way, if you are new on my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like the video and share the video with your friends and along with your loved one. And if you find my video helpful, please don't forget to share your thoughts on how to improve my video. And also, if you have any kind of doubts, please comment on the post, comment on the video with your doubts. I will try to clear it out. And also in this video description, you will find various type of resources and also the document file I've used to teach and explain. And there are many surprises waiting for you in this video description. So hurry up, check those resources out. And by the way, our next video will be on CSS, and it will be very fast video because CSS is easy, and as you know, we have learned some basic CSS also, and we have an idea about how CSS work. So I hope we will finish CSS in 1 or 2 video, okay? And after that we will focus on JavaScript. So without wasting any kind of time, let's get started. So in the previous table video, we have laid out some things. Now we are going to discuss about it and learn about it. So what we are going to learn? We are going to learn HTML table call group. If you want to create a columns group like this, a table, you have to use call group and call element. So let's see the code. Okay, inside the code we have this. I'm just gonna give it just some color. Okay, now I finished. Okay, so let's see the code. Doc type, HTML head. Inside head we have style. Use style for table, th and tr, etc, and we have used columns. Okay, now inside the board we have to add etc. Suppose we want to use it. Okay, suppose we want to use it, so I'm just gonna run it and see how does it work. Okay, as you can see this. So I'm just gonna explain it on the way. Okay, so why only these two columns, or you can say headers, are colored, and why others colors are not? So we are using the span. Because of the span, only 2. If we add 3 and you can see 3. So to understand or know that, we have to go to this. Okay, the call group element should be used as a container for the columns. Okay, each group is specified for a call element. The span attribute specify how many columns get this style. How many style columns span. Okay, the style attributes specify the style to give the columns. Okay, so back to the code and also the demo. So I'm just gonna short it off for a better understanding, like this. Okay, I'm just gonna show it off. Perfect. Okay, so we have put the style. The border will be 1px, and it is collapse. As we have added collapse, that's why it's only showing one type of collapse. With piece solid black, it's showing the black color. Okay, now down now H2 call group H2, add the call groups to blah blah blah, add the call group with a call element that span over 2 column blah 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 blah. Now we have changed from 2 to 3, that's why it's showing 3. Okay, style. For now, how to add, let's look at the let's look at the code. Table. Inside table we are using style attribute. This now the weight will be 100%. So what is 100%? 100% mean it will take the space of the whole thing. Or wait, if we added suppose 50% and run the code, it will take the half space. Okay, so now the call groups start. Inside call groups we have learned that call group should be used as a container. Call group, now inside the call element span call span 3 black style, and we have selected the color, this color and closing of call group. Now as usual the tables, table row, table heads. After table head we are giving the table data 1 2 3 and also the 3 table data, and so something like that. So this is the way how to run. So I hope I have explained this. These are the previous videos thing, okay, and these are the new one. So I have just explained this and not this whole thing. Okay, so now let's head back to what? Legal CSS properties. Okay, there is a very limited section of CSS property that are allowed to be used in call group. White property, visibility, background property, border property. We have used border, white, and the background visibilities is something else, and all other CSS property will not affect our tables. Okay, so multiple co-elements. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna replace this. Okay, and I'm just gonna run it. As you can see, this is how we can use the multiple line code, multiple code line, or you can say multiple coloring. This multiple co-element, multiple call element. So empty call groups. If you want to style columns in the middle of a table, insert an empty call element with no style for the columns. Okay, so let's see what happened now. Okay, this is good. We are just gonna use this chicken, and I'm just gonna put this and run this. Okay, yeah, you can add this in the middle, like 3 empty and 2 style and also other empty. Okay, so this is how you can add it. Hide columns. You can hide columns using the visibility. So now you can see what visibilities do. Run this code. Okay, tada. Monday, Tuesday, Sunday. So visibilities collapse. What? You have hide the columns of 3. 2 columns are empty. Okay, 1 2, that's why it has left these 2 and 3. 1 Wednesday is gone, Tuesday is gone, Friday is gone. Okay, these 3 columns are hidden because of these spent trees. So meta tags are snippets of text that describe a page's content. They are placed within the head section of an HTML document and are not visible to users on the web page itself. So let's see some common meta tags. We have seen and used charset declaration. Okay, meta charset UTF equal to 8. So what does it do? Specify the character encoding for the HTML document. The UTF-8 is the most commonly used encoding and supported, or you can say supports a wide range of characters. Okay, and we have used Viewport in the previous videos also. Now let's see the code. I'm just gonna mark it with the red color. Okay, I'm just gonna mark it with the red colors. Okay, so you can see the code. Okay, what does it do? Controls the layout on mobile browsers. It sets the weight of the page to follow the screen width of the device and set the initial zoom level. Okay, now description. Okay, what does it do? This is the code. You can see the code. Description provides a brief description of a web page. It's often used by search engine to display a snippet of the page in the search results. So now I'm just gonna no, sorry. Okay, so keywords. Let's mark the code also. Meta keywords contain HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, now what does it mean? Specify a list of keywords that are relevant to the page contents. Note that many search engines no longer use this tag for ranking purpose. Okay, just notice. Okay, we will not be using this keyword meta tag that much, but we must have some basic knowledge on what is this. So author, this is the code. As you can see in the name, specify the author of the web page. Suppose you want to declare that you are the owner of this website or web page, you can use this. Okay, robots. Now I'm just gonna go to robots. Meta name robots content index flow. Instruct search engines bots on how to index the page and follow links. Common values includes index, allow the page to be indexed, non-index, prevent the page from being indexed, follow, allow bots to follow these links, no follow, prevents bots from not following these links, something like that. So okay, so refresh. Let's see the code. Okay, meta etc refresh content of 5 seconds. Okay, automatically refresh the page after a specific number of seconds or redirectly to another website. Refresh content 5, and you can say this you can set this to 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, something like that, or you can say other minute like 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second, something like that. Okay, open grab OG tag, in short OG tag, used for social media sharing. These tags define how content is displayed when shared on platform like Facebook, Twitter or other platform. Okay, so this is the code. First we have the title, then description, then the image, then the URL. Okay, we will see and talk about this in the practical about more deeply. So Twitter cards, it is similar to OG text but specific to Twitter. Twitter cards are only usable in Twitter. This is the same card, title, describe, image. Okay, so Practical implementing meta tags in HTML. Let's get as simple as our base text. Okay, so you can see we had used chart coding in meta, chart set, meta, Viewport, name, keywords, authors. And this is how you're gonna use the meta tags inside the head element of an HTML document. We have used this in the previous videos, so I hope you have some general knowledge and you have the easy understanding how to add this. Okay, so what is CSS? In theory, first we are going to learn the theory. CSS full form is cascading style sheets, and it is used to format the layout of a web page. With CSS, you can control color, font, size of text, spacing between elements, positioning and layout, different images or color, different displays for different device and screen size. So using CSS can be added to HTML documents in three ways. In the early of this course, we have learned the inline, using style attribute inside HTML element, and in the previous video we have learned external way, using an link element to link to an external CSS file, and internal using a CSS file. So let's head back to it. Just remember, CSS can be added to HTML document in three ways: inline, internal, external. Okay, so inline CSS, how does it work? An inline CSS is used to apply an unique style to a single, not the whole HTML file, but single HTML element. It uses the style attribute of an HTML element. The code will be like this. I hope you are seeing this. Okay, let me zoom in. Oh, too much. Okay. H1 style, a blue heading. So as you can see, inline styling means you have to manually add styling to individual, or you can say specifically one to other style, like this. H1, for H1 I have styled this. For P, I have to put it. In case you have seen this, so inline practice is like this. Inline CSS is like this. You have to manually put every CSS in every line of code for every element, like this. For paragraph element, you have to manually set paragraph element. For every paragraph element, you have to set manually, like this, or you can just edit. So let's head back to internal CSS. And internal CSS is used to define a style for a single HTML page. It is defined in the head section of an HTML page within a style element. So let's see. We know this structure. So inside head element, or you can say inside head section, you can see this style like this. So for body, this will cover all the elements, contents inside the body. This will target all the H1s. This will target all the P's, I mean paragraph text. Okay, this is internal CSS. So now I hope you have understand it and have no doubt. If you have any kind of doubts, please don't forget to comment. So external, we have seen the external. We have to create another CSS file and we have to link it like this. And external style sheet is used to define the style for many HTML pages. To use an external sheet, add a link to it in the head section of each HTML page, like this. We have seen this before, and like this. Okay. So CSS colors, font and size theory. Commonly use CSS properties Color. Define the text color. Font family. Define the font to be used. Font size. Define the text size. Let's practice. Okay. In practice, H1 font size, P2 font size. Just have use for it. Now CSS border theory. This CSS border property defines a border around an HTML element. Now the practice code will be like this. Suppose you want to create a border using CSS border inside paragraph element, or you can say paragraph tag, P tag. So P, this is the hashtag tag, and border 2px solid power broom. Okay, I will be, as you have seen my previous video, first I like to explain things, then I like to go to the practical way. So CSS padding. What is CSS padding? The CSS padding property defines a padding, or you can say space, between the text and the border, like this. So paddings means space. CSS padding properties defines a space between the text and the border. It will create a space. So CSS margin. The CSS margin property defines a margin, also in a space outside the border. So padding and margin works same, but in a different way. Padding works inside the border and margin works outside the border. So it will, both of these will create space. Okay, and this is how you will do the margin. Okay, now the text color. You can set the color of text using the color property like this. For H1 style color property tomato, and for P style color property dog or blue, for another P style color property medium sea green, etc, something like that. So now we are going to learn border color. Also we have learned this border color, how to color your border in those previous video. You can set the colors of borders using the border property, etc, like this. For H1 style border to 2px solid tomato start something like this. Okay, so color values right now. Color can be specified using RGB values, hex values, HL values, RGB values, or you can say RGB. I just like to say, I like to pronounce it RGB. So SSL values. So in the practice course, how to apply those. So this one is tricky. I'm just gonna explain in a simple way. So stay tuned. So H1 style equal to background color. Okay, from this. Okay, as you can see, I have marked, or you can say use the different color. This format is same for the other ones. All of those are same, except if I want to use RGB values, RGB. If you want to hex values, I want to use hash XXX and if you want to XLL, I want to use this SLL. Okay, if I want to use RGBS, SLL. The only thing difference between will be like this, 0.5. Okay, now what will be the difference? Well, these are full transparent. Okay, but let's see, the following two div element have their background color set to RGBA and HSLA values, which add an alpha channel to the color. Here we have 50% transparency. For that we are using 0.5. You can see the values of those are same, 255, 255, 99, 99, 71, 71, but extra will be 0.5 because of this. Okay, We will see the practical demo in the practical section. So now we are going to let's see some formatting elements of HTML. So what are formatting elements? We have discussed and learned that for the B, bold, strong, and what's are the new? Emphasis text is the new one. Mark text is the new one. Smaller text is the new one. Deleted text is the new one. Instead text, subscript, superscript text. These are the new ones. I'll just select the new ones with different color. Sorry, not this color, but I'm just gonna give okay, perfect. And else. Okay, we will talk about this later. Now, HTML for short quotations. You can use Q text for short quotations. Okay, this like some text. Now we're gonna see HTML links, hyperlinks. HTML links are hyperlinks. You can click on a link and jump to another document. When you move the mouse over a link, the mouse arrow will turn into a little hand. Okay, what's our HTML links? The target attribute. By default, the link page will be displayed in the current browser window. To change this, you must specify another target for the link, target attribute. That's where the target attribute can have one of the following values: self, blank, parent, top. Self is the default. Open the browser document in the same window or tab as it was clicked. Blank, open the document in a new window or tab. Or you can say parent opens the document in a parent frame. Or you can say top opens the document in the full body of the window. So now we are going to learn about absolute URL versus relative URL. Both examples above are using an absolute URL. Absolute URL is a full web address in the href attribute. A local link, a link to a page within the same website, is specific with a relative URL. I mean, the only difference between the relative URL and the absolute URL is that relative URL doesn't have this part, www.com part. Okay, so as we can see in this example, absolute URL have the full address of a website or web page. This is my Facebook page. Okay, and relative URL doesn't have the www.com part. Okay, so as you can see, it is directly. It's more works like a local things, but most of the time we are going to use the relative URL because it is coincidence. We are going to learn more. So how to link an email address. To link an email address, we use mail to inside the HR attribute. That's it. That's the simple fact. We can see our anchor href attribute, and inside HR attribute it is mail to and the email address, and this will be the text visible on the web, on the browser. When the client or anyone click on this, they will have the option to send mail to this, etc. So how to add button as a link. Okay, now we are going to see some JavaScript. To use an HTML button as a link, you have to add some JavaScript code. JavaScript allow you to specify what happens at certain events, such as a click of a button. You can see the button is HTML element, or you can say HTML tag, and also on click here is JavaScript and the documents, location, etc. Okay, so we can see see how some more example. Okay, and by the way, if you have any kind of doubts, you can comment your doubts. And also I am going to give you some free resources platform where you can learn web development for the free and practice demo videos on the description of this video. And by the way, the document file you are seeing right now, this whole file will be uploaded, or you can and you can download it, or you can download it and see yourself from the video description. Okay, so more example of absolute URL. This is absolute URL, and this is relative URL, because this doesn't have this www part. Okay, sorry for the okay, so now how to add background image on an HTML element. To add a background image on an HTML element, use the HTML style attribute and the CSS background image property. So for the example, we are using this inside the P element, or you can say inside the background element, we are using style equal to background image, and this will be the image variable of this. So, but you can also specify the background image in the style element in the head section. Okay, so like this section will be inside the head. We will talk about it in the later video. So now, background image on a page. If you want the entire page to have a background image, you must specify the background image on the body element. Okay, a background image for the entire page. So if the body element have this, the whole page will be, entire page will be inside have a background image. So background repeat. If the background image is smaller than the element, and the image will repeat itself horizontally and vertically until it reaches the end of the element. So style body background image like this. So it will like do this image profile, it will like do this. So to stop this, we have to we have to use background repeat property to no repeat like this. So this will immediately stop. So background cover. If you want the background image to cover the entire element, you can set the background size property to cover. Also, to make sure the entire element is also covered, set the background attachment property to the fix. This way, the background image will cover the entire element with no scratching. The image will keep its original proportions. So let's look at the code. Background image URL, and the repeat no repeat, so it will stay the on way, and it will stay on the fix, and it will size on the size of the cover. Okay, so background scratch. If you want the background image to scratch to the fit the entire, you can use the background size property to the 100. Resizing the browser window, and you will see the image will scratch, but always cover the entire element. Okay, like this. So we will use this example later in the video, but I will explain why it's at 100. It's mean it will take vertically 100 and width-wise 100. That's why it's 100% twice. So what is Favicon? How to add a favicon in HTML? Favicon is the image, a small image of, you can see, so you can a favicon is a small image, so it can be a simple image with a high contrast. To add a favicon to your website, either save your favicon icon to the root directory of your web server, or create a folder in the root directory called images and save your favicon image in this folder. A common name for a favicon image is favicon.ioc. It's a platform. You can use it to create or download favicon. Next, add a link element to your index.html file after the title like this. Okay, now link this after the title. This favicon is like an image. I hope you have seen the Facebook. We will see in the practical view. But for now, we are not going to use anything else. Okay, the index value. So we are not gonna discuss it about we are going to discuss about HTML description now. A description list of it is similar to table. DL defines description list. It works like, you can say, T-raw, and TD text defines the term names, and DD description. So DT coffee, and this is the description like this. Okay, you can use my difference. So now we are going to see block level elements. At block level elements always start on a new line, and the browser automatically adds some space and margin actually before and after the element. A block level element always take up the full width available, stretched out to the left to the right as far it can. Two commonly used block elements are P and div, and we are going to see some P. The P element defines a paragraph in an HTML document at div element. So you have now some question that what is the block element? Block element is words like full stop, something like that. And suppose, for example, okay, we are going to see when you use P element, it's create a new level of code, or you can say new level of line. Same goes for div. Now here are the block level elements in the HTML: address, article, aside, block quote, canvas, dd, div, dl, dt, field set, fig caption, figure, footer, form, h1 to h6, header, hr, li, main, nav, no script, olp, pre, section, table, tfoot, ul, video. So now inline element. An inline element does not start on a new line. An inline element only takes up as much width as necessary. It is a span element inside this phone. Okay, hello span is gonna take the span. Suppose you have a paragraph. You have a paragraph P element, and inside P element there is a long line, or you can say there is a long content. So inside long content you can use span to create necessary space. So here are the inline element in HTML: anchor, above, excerpt, bold, below, big, beer, button, site, code, defend, EMI, image, input, keyword, level, map, object, output, queue, span, script, select, small, span, strong, sub, soup, text area, time, TT, bar. And inline element cannot contain a block level element. Okay. Now the div element often used as a container for other HTML element. The div element has no requirement attributes, but style, class, and ID are common. And when using together with CSS, the div element can be used to style block of content. For example, like this. We will discuss it in a practical video. I'm just going to explain it right now. For right now, the span element. The span element is an inline container used to mark up a part of a text or a part of document. The span element has no requirement attribute, but style, class, and ID are common. When used together with CSS, the span element can be used to style parts of text. Like this, my mother. I was talking about this. Yeah, I was talking about these types of elements. Recently, a few more. I was talking about this type of example, or you can say code. Few minutes ago. Like, as you can see, inside P element, my mother has span, and as per spanning, we can use style, color, font, blah 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 blah, and weight, bold, and finish, and you can say blue. So it will show blue this text as this color. Okay, then eyes and my father has spent. Same goes for this darker blue color. For example, I'm just gonna open my VS Code and let you see the code. How does it work? Okay, I'm just gonna close it and take it. Okay, I'm just gonna run it. As you can see, this is what I was talking about. My mother has put it. The text will be the color and dark nice. Okay, now back to the theory. The div element is used as a container for other table, other HTML element. Okay, so and the div element is by default a block element, meaning that it will take all available width and comes with the line breaks before and after. For example, a div element takes up the all width like that. If I use this, you can see the input, I mean the code and the result like this. This will tick, and inside the div, I am a div. This has taken all the element. Now this. Okay, so the div element has no required attribute but stack cursor. We have learned that. Div as a comparator. The div element is often used to group sections of a web page together. Div, an example like this, London, etc. So you can use div as a container. Now the class attribute. The class attribute is often used to point to a class name in a style sheet. It can also be used by JavaScript to access and manipulate elements with the specific class name. In the following example, we have three div element with a class attribute with the value of city. All of the three div element will be styled equally according to the city style definition in the head section. Okay, I'm just gonna take this. I'm just gonna copy this code and paste it on VS Code and run it to let you see what I am trying to say. First of all, okay, like this. You can see inside the head section we are using style to style city, but as you can see this has city, but these are the different cities. So city is dot, it is the element class. So this is the class attribute, class equal to city. So inside it doesn't matter if these are different cities, it will show up like this color. I have set it in the style section. Okay, we will learn about it more deeply in the practice video. I'm just gonna give you. In the following example, we have two span element with a class attribute with the following of node. Both span element will be styled equally according to the node. So these will be the same things, but I'm just gonna copy it and paste it on my VS Code. Paste it on my VS Code and run it. Okay, as you can see, node. Node, inside node important, color is important because I have selected node and node. I have used a node. But if we use another thing, another text, or you can say replace this with another text, replace this important text with another text, the content will be the same. It will show as well. So okay, let's go. The class attribute can be used on any HTML element, and the class name is case sensitive. The syntax for class. To create a class, write a period, this basically the dot character followed by a class name, then define the CSS property within the curly brackets like this. Where? yes, like this. So as we have seen these examples, as we can see this above example, and the period of time dot and the class name you want to create, and also define the CSS, and also define the CSS inside this cursor. I mean, you can be literally you can use any kind of CSS property you want, but you can use literally you can use any CSS property you want, but you have to define it within this curly bracket, but dot like this. Okay, so this content will be the same. I'm not gonna run it on VS Code because these are the same things. HTML element can belong to more than one class. To define multiple class, separate the class name with a space dot d main city, and a element will be styled according to the all classes. In the following example, the first h2 element belongs to the both city class, also to the main class, and we'll get the CSS style from the body of the class. So if you have understand the concept of this class attribute, or you can say class element, or let's see, class attributes. If you have understand the class attribute properly, you will understand this. I'm not gonna show you in VS Code, you have to figure it out. This has h1 class equal to class city main, all of the cities backward. So which element, or you can say which coding code will be affected. So different element can share same class. Different HTML element can point to the same class name. In the following example, both h2 and p to the city and class will be shared. This is also the same. So I'm leaving this up to you guys. So use the class or class attribute in JavaScript. Now we are going to talk about JavaScript. The class name can be used by JavaScript to perform certain tasks for this specific element. JavaScript can access elements with a specific class name with get element by class name method. So for example, I have written this code, and because we are now just started learning about JavaScript, so I'm just gonna show you the code and try to explain to you. I will explain to you, and okay, code and run it. Okay, these are the same thing. The only difference, you can see button. I have created button, as we have known that JavaScript creates responsibility, or you can say make the website responsible, like this. So if I want to hide the elements, so use the class attribute in JavaScript, click the button to hide the all city. So if I click this hide element, this will hide the element of this city. So why it has only targeted this city but not the other part, and that part will be explained in the script. So in the script we are using function and my function, and you can see both, and after the curly bracket you can see the bar. And as we have not gone to that part in JavaScript, that you will have the slot, just see that you will have difficulty understanding this JavaScript because we haven't learned this part, not yet. Just see this document dot get element by class name. This is the method, and this is the element, the class name city. Okay, just remember this. I will explain later in the JavaScript chapter. Okay, the ID attribute right now. The ID attribute specific a unique ID for an HTML element. The value of an ID attribute must be unique within the HTML documents. The ID attributes is used to point to a specific style declaration in a style sheet. It is also can be used by JavaScript to access and manipulate the element within the specific ID. The syntax for ID: write a hash character like this followed by a name. It is the same thing as class with just because you can see in the class element we have to put the dot first, but in the ID syntax we have to put what? We have to put hash character followed by ID name, which was replaced. It will be replaced by store. So it is the same thing with minor replacement. In the following example, we have an h1 element that's point to the ID name, my header. This h1 element will be styled according to the my header style definition into. So hash my header. So this is the CSS guy. Okay. So I hope you are very much clear about difference between class and ID attribute. So difference between class and ID. A class name can be used by multiple elements, HTML element, while an ID name must be used by one HTML element within the page. For example, style the element with the ID header like this. Okay. Now style all the elements with the class name like this. So style the element, style all the element. The difference is simple. So I am just gonna copy this code and run it on my VS Code to let you to show you the basic thing. Okay, just remember the color. My header has ID has light blue color, and class attribute have tomato color. ID attribute have light blue color and class blue. So this is the light blue. It will only target or work on one element, while class attribute work on multiple elements. The only difference are this. Okay. So HTML bookmarks with ID and links. HTML bookmarks are used to allow readers to jump to a specific part of a web page. Bookmarks can be useful if your page is very long. To use a bookmark, you must create it and then add a link to it. Then you can then when the link is clicked, the page will be scrolled to the location with a bookmark. For example, first create a bookmark with the ID attribute like this. Suppose you have a character page like this, and you can say C4. C4 is the name you are giving to your bookmark. This is not the part of the code. This is part of code, but this is not the fixed code. I hope you are understanding that. You can literally give it any kind of name. C4, C5, C10, etc. The more you want, then etc. For example, I'm just gonna do this, and I know many of you are who are using internet, any browser, I don't care, Chrome, etc. In your using, I believe you have used bookmark. You use bookmark to any. Okay, so now this, and try to mount this. Okay, so we have two things: the chapters, etc. Blah 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 blah. Chapters, blah 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 blah. Okay, and these are the chapter. This will follow to the chapter 4. Okay, like this. It's chapter 10. Okay, simple lesson. So the only thing you have to do is this. Remember the code. href hash. Remember, when you use hash it's an id, but when you use dot it's a class attribute. So hash and username you want and finish, close enter, press enter. Okay, so using id attribute in JavaScript. Okay, using id attributes in the JavaScript. We have seen the class attribute in JavaScript. Now we are seeing id attribute in JavaScript. The id attribute can be used by JavaScript to perform some tasks for that specific element. JavaScript can access an element with a specific id with the get element by id method. So as we are learning CSS for the first time, I'm just gonna copy the code and try to explain it by running it, or you can base code. Okay, see, hello world, hello world. This is the same. h1 id equal to header hello world, hello world. So button, one click, display result, and change text. The call change text is visible here. Okay, now in the script part, just see the method get element by id. So inside my header dot inner HTML, have a nice day. So what is inner HTML? Inner HTML is like suppose this is the first layer of your face, this is the second layer of your face. So inner HTML is the like this. When you remove your first layer of your face or anything skin wise, you will see your muscles, or you can say nerve. I'm not a medical student, but something like that. So when you click it, it show have a nice day. Okay, and it is my header because it's going the id. Now I hope you have so now we are going to see HTML iframe syntax. The HTML iframe tags specific and inline frame. An inline frame is used to embed another document with the current HTML document. So syntax is similar to the other syntax. Iframe source, the URL, and the title, description, iframe. It is good practice to always include a title attribute for the iframe. This is used for the screen reader to read out what the contents of the iframe is. Iframes set height and width. Use height and width attributes to specify the size of the iframe. The height and width is pixel by pixel. So I'm just gonna try to copy. I'm just gonna copy the code and try to explain it on my way of explaining like this. By the way, I don't have the image, that's why it's showing this, but you can guess the height, the width, and title iframe example. Okay, now for example, or you can add style attribute and use CSS height and property. You can also use the CSS height and width properties. I'm just gonna copy this code, run it on my VS Code like this. It is the same thing, but we are using what? We are using style, height, px, width, 3px, title, etc. Simple. Okay. Now iframe remove the border. By default, an iframe has a border around it. To remove the border, add the style attribute and use the border property. Okay. Okay. The only thing you are not seeing that I'm not using any kind of image or HTML. That's why you are not showing, you are not seeing. But I have to create a file for that. Okay, I believe I have a ready-made file on my website. You can use this copy part. It won't run, maybe it won't run because I'm not using relative URL, but it's run. Okay. So it's run. So I'm using an HTML index website file I created. It's a demo video I created to teach my student, to explain to my student. So I'm just using the console. So this is a simple and basic HTML. So now, as you can see, there is no border, but when we if we go to the other I'm just gonna use this. Okay, as you can see, I was talking about this border. By default, this iframe has borders like this. So when you use no borders like this, border none, and run the code, the border will be gone. See, no border. So I hope I have made clear. Okay, I'm not gonna use the CSS file because it is the same thing, just with a different thing. So iframe target for a link. An iframe can be used as a target frame for a link. The target attribute of a link must be referred to the name attribute of the iframe. For example, they are using this, so I'm also using this. I'm using only. Wait a minute. Let's do it. Okay. So I just run it. You can see. You can see. Remove iframe border. To remove default iframe border, use CSS like this. And I also have my link of the YouTube. It's not working right now because I haven't target this youtube.com. Okay, so iframe target for a link. It's the same thing. It's target one target attributes to link, etc, etc. The HTML script tag. Now we are talking about the script tag. We've been using this script tag, you know, from the beginning. Now we're going to learn what this script tag means. Script tag is used to define a client-side script, JavaScript. The script element either contains script statement or is pointed out to external script file through the src source. So you can add JavaScript also, just like CSS. For currently we are using internal method. We are putting script file inside the HTML document, but we can also create another external file for JavaScript and link it as using the src attribute. Okay, to select an HTML element, JavaScript most use document get element by id method. This JavaScript example hello right into example, etc. So now we are talking about some basics JavaScript. Okay, This type of things are usually called internal method. And if you have another external JavaScript file, you can also link it in the head. So I'm just gonna run it. See this demo etc. hello element like this. Hello HTML. This is showing without anything because we haven't add any kind of button. Okay, so a taste of JavaScript. Here are some examples what JavaScript can do. JavaScript is so much amazing. JavaScript is fun, exciting, but it also can be hard sometimes if you don't understand the content. So I am trying my best to explain and clear out the basics of JavaScript for you in this video. So I'm a human being, but and also I'm not a professional video editor, so I can also make mistakes like this. JavaScript can change the content of an HTML element. So let's see, we have created a button, one click function, click me, and Python ID attributes demo. This is a demo restriction. So let's see the script. Function, my function get element demo. So this will create this will change this canon to this demo to this description to hello JavaScript like this. Okay, because ID equal to demo, it will change the demo only. Okay, so for more example, JavaScript can change styles, font size, etc. Okay, I'm just gonna give it. I have created this example to show you what JavaScript can do. This is the most common thing a JavaScript can do, like this. Off, on, off. Off, on, off, on. It's magic. So this is what can JavaScript do, and it can do beyond this. This is the simple thing JavaScript. This is the simple thing I'm asking my JavaScript to do, or creating my JavaScript actually. So JavaScript is amazing, it's fun, it's creative, it's weird, but it's not so easy also. So with time and practice, we will finish JavaScript one day. So for right now, this is the example. You will find this document or the same document, so you don't have to worry, in this video description. The HTML, no script tag. No script tags mean it's not gonna work anything. So no script, sorry, your browser doesn't support it, etc. So this thing is one of the most crucial and important thing. It's play an important role in HTML file part, while also it's file part. So file part example like this. So I'm just trying to do. Okay, I'm just trying to do, sorry, I'm just trying to, okay. Two page. Got disconnected. Okay, sorry. Now let's see the fucking shit. Okay, now see the file path example. This plays an important role. Image, source, direct file. And image file is located in the same folder as the current page. image source. Inside image folder we can find our image located in the image folder in the current folder. Okay, we are seeing now image source dot image picture.com. So what does it mean? It is same. No, same but different. What is different? This. So if we add this slash, what does it mean? The picture.jpg file is located in the image folder at the root of the current web. Okay, now image source equal to dot hash picture. What does mean? This are this same but different also. Because of this, the picture.jpg file is located in the folder one level up from the current folder. So we are going to explain it right now. HTML file. A file path describes the location of a file in a website's folder structure. So you are thinking about what is website's folder structure. As I have shown you before, I have my website folder. Inside website I have CSS folder, and after that I have HTML format, and I have some markup source. This is the basic thing. I have not added JavaScript, that's why there is no JavaScript folder. I haven't used any kind of image, that's why there is no image folder. But the structure of folder is like similar to this. A file path are used while linking to an external file. Now we are talking about external file like web page, image, style sheet. For style sheet we have to create CSS file like this CSS file, and inside CSS file you might have one CSS file or two or multiple CSS file, or I haven't used the image, that's why I don't have image file. So you have to create an image folder first. Web pages, for web pages I didn't create any kind of folders. I just simply put these contents. Okay, these are the image. So also you have to create a folder for JavaScript. Now let's talk about absolute file. Absolute file path and relative file path are the same thing, like absolute URL and related URL. Absolute URL have the full file path, and the relative file path doesn't have the www part. Simple. This part is missing. It's simple. Okay, so these are the example. We are not gonna discuss it. So now we are going to explain now we are going to see this. I'm just gonna okay, थोड़ा सा जूम कर लेता हूँ और थोड़ा perfecto. Okay, perfecto. HTML layout element. HTML has several semantic elements that define the different part of a web page. Header, navigation, section, articles, aside, footer, and details and summary. Okay. What is header? Defines a header for documents or section. Navigation, a set of navigation links. We will learn about this. More in the practical video and practical chapter part. So first we're going to see HTML layout techniques. There are 4 different techniques to create multi-column layout like this. Each technique has its pros and cons. Okay, the first technique is CSS framework. The second is float property, also CSS. And third one is CSS flexbox. Last one is CSS grid. But now I'm gonna give you my personal experience, or you can say my personal opinion or advice. I like to use the flexbox more because it's a flexbox. And sometimes I also use framework. Okay, but mostly I use flexbox. Now, CSS frameworks. What are CSS frameworks? If you want to create your layout fast, you can create a CSS framework like Bootstrap. Okay. Now, float property. CSS float property. I never use float property, but I have learned about it. But not the pro level, but the basics level. It is common to do the entire web layouts using the CSS float property. Float is easy to learn. Yes, it is to learn. That's why I have learned it. You just need to remember how the float and the clear properties work. Okay. The disadvantage: floating elements are tied to the document's flow, which may harm the flexibility. That's why I prefer the flexbox layout. Use of a flexbox ensures the layouts behave predictably, while the page layouts must accommodate different screen size and different display device. Okay. Now, CSS grid layout. The CSS grid layout module offers a grid-based layout system with a raw columns like the tables one, making it easier to design a web page without having to use float and position. Okay. Now, what is responsive web design? Responsive web design is about using HTML and CSS to automatically resize, hide, screen, or enlarge a website to make it look good on all devices: desktop, laptops, phone, or you can use laptops, or even more TV. So, setting the viewport to create a responsive website, add the following meta tag to all your website, and we have talked about the meta tags. So, viewport, name viewport, content with device with initial scale 1.1. This will set the viewport of your page, which will give the browser instruction on how to control page dimension and scaling. Here is an example of a web page without viewport meta with a system like this. The page, or you can say the content, will take up the whole screen, and it will look disgusting. But with the viewport, it will look beautiful, like a Russian. So, if you're you are browsing this page on a phone, tablet, you can click on the two vertical links and see the difference. Okay. Now, responsive image. Responsive images are images that scale nicely to fit any browser size, using the white property. Oh wow! As you have figured it out, we are using the white property more than once. I mean, the white property of CSS is very important. Remember it, guys. Okay. If the CSS white property is set to 100, the image will be responsible and take up the whole scale. This will take the whole scale like this. Notice that will be the example that scale is too large, and then is worth a better solution in many cases, but we'll be able to use the max width property instead. Okay, using the max width property. Now see the difference. We are not talking about only the width, but we are talking the max width. I mean, it can take the every bit of weight. Use it for this. If the max width property is set to 100, the image will scale down if it has to, but never scale up to be larger than the original size, like this. Okay, this will not for larger, but still to the point. Show different image depending on the browser rate. picture element allowed to define for the different parts, etc. Blah 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 blah. Source blah 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 blah. Max weight, max weight. So this is the max weight. Okay. Now responsive text size. The text size can be set with a BW. What is BW? Oh my God! If you haven't got it, it is Viewport. Viewport. It is Viewport word, man. Here, man. Focus, man. Focus. That way, the text will follow up the size of the browser window. Hello world. Resize the browser window to see how the text will scale. Example, etc. So I'm not gonna use it because it is the same thing we have discussed on the meta chapter. So media query in additional to resize text in image, it is also common to use media query in the responsive web page. With media query, you can define completely different style for the different browser sizes. Example, resize the browser window to see that there are the three dots on the keyboards and display horizontally on a large screen and stack vertically on this small screen. Left, main cone, etc. etc. These are the. So now we are going to see responsive web page full example. And responsive web page should look good on a large display screen or also on a small phone device. For example, we are going to copy this code and run it on our VS Code. Where our VS Code? Okay, we have our VS Code like this and kachang kachang kachang. Okay, why it is not looking so good? Because what? Because we haven't added the important thing, and that is the CSS. We haven't used it. We haven't added the CSS file. That's why it's showing. But let's see the meta name viewport content is wide, so it will work as perfect as it should be. Okay. Now for the Bootstrap, another popular CSS framework is Bootstrap. So it will not work because I don't have the code. Okay, I'm just gonna run it. As you can see, can't you see? My fast Bootstrap page, resize this responsive page to see the effect. Okay. Container M1, Soul M4, S2, S2. Now we are using this. Domain. No. Open. So this is the JavaScript of this signature form. Open like this. So as you can see, this is the thing. Inside the class, primary docs, etc, etc, blah 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 blah. So resize this responsive text to the see the effect. Resize this text inside the effect. We get to resize this to the P4 and P5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. You can class, you can column. You have 4. I'm just gonna add 2. Small, medium. 2, 3. So there. See the columns. Now we're going to see what are the semantic elements. The semantic elements clearly describe its meaning to the both of the browser and the developer. Example of non-semantic elements: divs, blah blah blah. Example of semantic elements: image, table, article, blah blah blah. Semantic elements in the HTML. Many websites contains HTML code like div, dot, navigation, header, etc. etc. In HTML, there are several semantic codes that can be used to define different parts of website, etc. 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 like this. So, HTML section element. Section element is described as like this, tag it is, etc. 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 So WWF 16 etc. etc. So how does they work? Let's see. Want to check it out? I'm just gonna remove. Okay. So these are the two sections. In documents. So HTML article elements, the article elements, etc. 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 Example of where article element can be used: forum post, blog post, user comment, product cards, newspaper article. For example, I'm going to use some article like this. See, same thing, but now it is asking us for some, sorry, I'm using CSS right now. It's CSS. Tada. Okay, let's just make it look perfectly called. I'm just getting class, attribute, etc. 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 Same things, just differences, just with some CSS. And now nesting article in a section or vice versa. So article elements can specify independent and self-contained content. Section element defines a section of a document. So we can use this definition to decide how to nest those elements. No, we cannot. So you will find HTML page with section element containing article elements and article, etc. etc. Now HTML header element. Header element represent a container for directory contents and etc. navigation links. Header elements typically contains one or more headings element, which one is 6 logo, icon, or touch information, etc. etc. You can have several headers element in one HTML. However, header element cannot be placed within a folder or expression or a header another string. Okay, for example, like this. So I'm just gonna example. Sorry, I'm just gonna run the VS Code and I'm just gonna go to this picture. Okay, but not inside the code. I'm not gonna use the style. Okay, header section. What does status do? What is mean? Blah 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 blah. Okay. Now HTML footer element. We have seen and talked about footer element in the first and the second video. A footer element defines a footer for the documentation of section. Footer elements typically contain authorship information, copyright information, contact information, site map, blah 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 blah, like this. Okay. Now, for the first time, we are going to see and use navigation element, or you can say nav, HTML nav element. The nav element defines a set of navigation links. Notify the notification should be inside navigation. The navigation is interpreted only for the major block of navigation. The browser such as screen reader can. So, for example, like this, we are going to use this. We're going to use this. like this. When I click on this, this will take me to the source if I had the code like this. Okay, now we have seen the navigation course. Now we have to, for the first time, we're going to see HTML aside element. Okay, with the aside element, feeling fucking hot right now. Aside element, tada, aside element. So you must be wondering, what is aside element? Aside h4, and this is the aside element. Okay, if we use this aside element inside the other element, we'll take it as aside, nothing more. I wonder if we have this something like that. No, we don't have. Okay, so if we use some CSS, we be able to actually see how does it work. Like this. I was talking about this. Okay, now leave me alone. So HTML figure and the fig caption element. The fig caption text contain explanation, etc, 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 and a fixed defensive caption for the figure element. Why semantic elements? A semantic web allows data to be shared, refused across application, interface, and communication. Now semantic elements on that these things we have learned, things blah 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 blah. Now HTML form. Okay, HTML form is used to collect user input. The user input is most often. So the form elements is the container of this, etc, etc, and etc, and form inside form from elements, etc, etc, like this. The input element. The input element is the most used form element. An input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attribute. Okay, input type text. Display a single line of text input. Input type radio. Display radio button for selecting one of the many choices. Input text checkbox. Display a checkbox for selecting 0 or more of many choices. Submit. Display submit button like this. Button. Display clickable button. Okay. This text field, the input text field, the code form is like this. Okay, and the code is here, and this is how it will show. First name, last name. Okay, blah 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 blah. Finish. So the label element right now. Notice the use of label element in the example above. We didn't notice because I haven't put it. The label element. The label tag defines a table for many from element. The label element is useful for screen reader, etc, etc. Label for etc, etc. The for attribute of the label tag should be equal all to the ID input. Okay, we will talk about this later. Radio buttons. Defines a radio button. Radio buttons let the user select one of a limited number. Okay, just like this. Okay, input radio ID HTML. Input ID CSS. Input radio string JavaScript. Now label for HTML label BR. For ID and for CSS this is better. So this is how this is gonna choose your favorite language. And I can choose anything. Okay, and yes, checkbox. Same thing, just change some contents, like instead of Radio is have checkbox, and vehicle 4, vehicle 1, vehicle 2, vehicle 3, I have a bike, I have a big, blah 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 blah, black sheep, like this. Okay, so the submit button, the input submit button work like this, the same way, like this. Okay, the name attribute for the notice the each attribute has a name attribute. So if the name attribute is connected, the communication is not standard or. So the name attribute is very much important. Huh? The name attribute, what? Name attribute this. Now the action attribute. The action attributes are etc 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 etc. Same thing with some differentiation, but the same thing. The target attribute. Now talking about target attribute, the target attribute where to display the responsive words, we have talked about this, so we are not gonna talk about it. So method. Now the method attribute, method equal to get. So from method get, for example, this example is the get method to from etc etc etc. These are not that much kind of attributes, so I'm just gonna escape it. You can, if you want to learn, you can. I have a notification. I'm just gonna click it. Okay, wait a minute. So the autocomplete attribute is the autocomplete attributes specify wherever a from should have autocomplete on or off. When autocomplete is on, the browser automatically completes valuable based on the result and use that as before. It's like suppose you are logging, you are trying to login with your Facebook account, and you have login your Facebook and before, the browser automatically try to give you the number, the username or the email or the password, like, sir, it is your password or this is your email, something like that. So from action page.php, so we are not kind of talking about PHP, that's why I'm not focusing on, just gonna give you some clear option. So this form, the HTML form elements, the form element can contain one or more of the following form elements: input, label, select, text area, button, field set, legend, data list, output, option, of group. So input element. So talk about the input element. One of the most used form element is the input element. The input element can be displayed in several depending on the type attributes. For example, like this. We have used the input element. That's why we know the input element, how to use it. Okay. The label element. The label element defines the etc 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 etc. We have used the label element in the previous. That's why we also not gonna focus it that much, but we're going to focus on the select element. The select element defines the drop list. Label for car, choose a car, select ID cars, bolgo, something like that. It's okay. So I'm just gonna copy it right into this, and I'm not gonna I'm just gonna remove this fucking shit. Okay, I'm just gonna go this. See the difference? Okay. And by the way, if you like my video, my content, don't forget to subscribe, because as you see in this as you can see in the whole hot summer, I am not using my fan, because if I use my fan, my audio will be disrupted. That's why I am sitting here for more than 4 hours, talking endlessly, sweating like a pig for you guys to create this video. So please subscribe my channel, like the video, share the video. Now the option element defines the option, etc., etc. For example, flight option, visible values also like this. Use the size attribute to speed and visible. Okay, I'm just gonna change it. Now it's gonna show us visibly. Okay, like this. But why? Because we have used this size. Okay, now allow multiple selection. See, 4. Same thing, that's why I'm not running on VS Code. The text area element. The text area element defines a multiple private called a text area. Just like this. Okay. As we have learned rows, calls, so we are not talking about it. Just see the code, see the output, and this can be the example. Now button, we have button and we have learn button, so we are not gonna talk about. Now field set and the legend element. Field set element is used to group related data in a form. Legend element defines the caption for the field set element. Too much hot. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Like this, okay? So the data list element, specify a list of a default option for an input element. User will see a drop list of repeat option as input data. So this is the code. The output element, the same thing. Output element, like this. Okay, submit. Okay, so learn this HTML input text from this document. Name frame we have talked about this. Now input type passport. Input type passport defines a passport field. It will create like this. Okay, same thing. Now I'm not explaining, that's why. Also the submit option, it is the same thing we have learned. And input type reset. Input type reset button, reset all the default to the reset button, right? Submit and reset button. Okay, but if you change the input parameter and change the form reset and input type button, we have talked about it. Same thing. Now input type color. Input type color is used for content color, like this. Form, label, for favorite color, select a favorite color, type favorite color. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, I'm gonna run it to show you. See, and you must have the question, what the fuck is happening right now? Because as you can see, I put the color and ID favorite color, so it's gonna take the name favorite color to the label it is, so it's just showing us the color to select it, and is this using RGB, XLL, BGB, XLL system, so something like that. Okay, input type date. Can see me, these are the similar thing. One, just to change the code of this also the same thing, and I have talked about it. Input type email, etc. Input type email, etc. Okay, that's it. Good enough. I'm not talking about input anymore. I'm so fed up. not talking about this fucking form anymore. I just got the now the HTML video element. To show a video in HTML, use the video element like this. Okay, how does it work? The control attributes add control. The control attributes adds video control like play, pause, and volume. It is a good idea always include width and height attribute. If the height version not set, the page might flicker while the video loads. The source element allows the Favicon alternate video files which are meant to choose etc. The text between the video and the video tag will be visible in the browser and then do not support the video element. Okay, not video and autoplay. Okay, video autoplay, something like that. You have to create it. I'm just gonna show you how to run it. It's not showing any kind of video because I haven't put any kind of video. I don't have any kind of video right now. Okay, and the move button, the HTML audio, same thing, same. This is the code, same. How does it work? It's same way, same thing like the video. So YouTube video ID, playing a YouTube video in HTML frame, etc. We are not. Now we are going to talk about HTML API. Locate the user's position, generic, etc. Like browser support. If the browser supports using HTML, you have to get current position, etc. Like this. But I'm not gonna run it because it will export. It will show my location. That's why I'm not gonna run it. Not taking any kind of risks. you can run it on your own. So handling errors and rejection. The second parameter of get error method is used to handle it. Is also function to run it. It is so you can use the run. Okay. Now see. You can see. So I put my SN. Drag the next search. Drag the next search to rectangle like this, or this, something like that. Okay. Now drag and drop. It's one of the most common feature, drag and drop. So HTML drag and drop example. It might seem complicated, but let's go all the way to this install. Okay, run it and drag and drop. Suppose it's just drag and drop. It is the script, that's why it's not working. Okay, target any data, drag and drop. Suppose let's say I had this file. See, drag and drop, nothing more, nothing less. Make an element draggable. First of all, to make an draggable, the draggable attribute to be true, image true. What to drag, on side, etc. These are the same thing. I'm not gonna explain. So what is HTML web storage? With web storage, web application can store data locally within the user's browser. I don't try that. The user browser. Before HTML5, application data had to be stored in cookies, include every server. Web browser is like a more large file of the data stored locally without extreme or file. Online cookies, the storage file is far larger than 5 MB and could transfer to the never server web server. Blah 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 blah. Okay, HTML web storage object. HTML web storage provides two objects for storing data on the client: Windows local store, Windows Session Store. I always use local store. Store data with no expiration date, but store data for one season and data will be lost when the browser tab is closed. Okay, I use this, and I will always I recommend this storage objects. Wow. Before using web storage, check browser support for local storage site. Okay, you can check it like this. Okay, the local storage update. The local storage should be data, for example, blah 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 ship executive. For example, the storage name name is it will do the same thing. We will learn it about it in the practical section, so I'm not gonna talk about it that much. Session what is the same thing. The code is the example like this. So now, what is a web worker? When executing script in an HTML page, the page becomes unresponsive until the script is finished. A web worker is a JavaScript that's run in the background individually of other script without affecting the page. You can continue to do whatever you want, clicking, selecting things, etc., etc. So, web example. The example below creates a simple web browser that contains counts 5 in the background. Example counts number. Example counts 5. Like this. Check web browser support. You can use this code to check it. Okay. Create a web worker file. Now let's create our worker file in external JavaScript. Here we have to create a script that's content a store in a demo script like this. Okay, like this. So the important part of the code above so the script file will be stored in the demo file. We are not going to create it until the practice demo because the video will be too much long. But now we are currently working on HTML. Create a web worker object. Now we have the web worker file. We need to call it an HTML page. Therefore, so these are the so-called things we are not gonna discuss because we will discuss it while in the practice video. So that's it. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video. Thank you.